Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. So today's video, we're going to talk about how we, as in the human race, have only a few decades to live. So now, according to scientists, uh, every week, somebody's warning us how we only have a certain amount of time to live. We have the population or the depopulation of humanity recently occurring right now. They're calling it the sixth extinction or sixth mass extinction. Sorry. We also have the fact that people are not having as many kids as they used to. So that's the reason why we are going down in numbers as far as humanity goes, humans. So now we have a scientist saying that, well, we only have a few decades, not even centuries or a century, but decades, something like 60, 70 years. So again, the doom and gloom machine keeps cranking out, I think, bullshit. Now, is there some validity to the human race declining or the amount of humans declining because the birth rate is down and it's been down all over the world? Now, they recorded this a few years ago stating that the United States had a low birth rate. But now the world has a low birth rate and they see it declining every year. And not just by a little bit, but by enough that they're concerned that in a decade or two, there'll be no more humans. So for a change, it's not the apocalypse, it's not nuclear war, it's not some pandemic, though that's probably going to help along down the line. It's the fact that we're not fucking. We're not getting it on, we're not having sex, we're not doing a rodeo ride, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is why humanity's population is declining. Now, you also have to add to the fact that we have certain arm tickets circulating. We have the environment. We have stressors in the world that are adding to these problems. But for now, they're focused on the fact that there's not enough babies being born because the birth rate is down all over the world. Places like China and India, in about 30, 40 years, or maybe more than that, 50, 60 years, sorry, they're going to see major problems with their population as far as it being cut in half. Half, guys. Now, keep in mind, China and India have a population of 1 billion people. That means their population is going to be cut in half in anywhere between 50, 60, 70 years. That's a lot. Now, that's not in a lot of our lifetimes. I think most of us have another 40 years left. Those of us that are over 40 have over 40 years left. So we probably won't see it, but our kids will and our grandkids will. So that's a major problem. And I think, guys, because of the pandemic and other things like that, that's also making people socially awkward. And we have our phones, we have computers, we have games. So we don't have to actually go out there and talk to people. The population is dwindling because of these added factors. So they're saying that because of this lack of babies being born or declining birth rate, that it's going to bring modern civilization down. And I can see that because, again, if you don't have first of all, you don't have the adequate number of people to run certain things, society's going to crumble in itself. Society in itself is becoming stupid day by day. We are watching the lunacy go on around the world. Let's start with America. We have Canada, sorry, because Canada, California are one and the same. California passing a bill paying illegal immigrants $300 a week up to 20 weeks to live. So it's unemployment benefit. Keep in mind, they're not employed. And they could say what they want to say, and the California government will believe them. So they can come straight over the border, straight to California, and sit there and go, I worked, yes, at Taco Bell. And they'll go, okay, here's $300 a month. No real paperwork, no real way to find out whether or not they work, because they're not allowed to call their previous employers or their current employer if they happen to be working. They're going to take the word of the illegal immigrants and or some immigrants that are already here working. That kind of lunacy, guys, is spreading all over the world. I think the dumbing down of the human race has started a long time ago. We're seeing the effects now, and it's only going to get worse. So clearly, guys, there's a lot at play as far as humans dwindling away stupidity is going to play a huge part in the reason why we decline. Now, another issue they're talking about is the fact that currently, right now, as it stands, we have too many people and a lot of the resources are being used up. That's why you hear this talk of water wars coming soon. You have food on the decline. Food shortages are starting to pop up in other parts of the world. And here in the United States, certain supermarkets are not getting certain things. They are expecting these food shortages to get worse later this year. So now, for food shortages to get that bad, where people actually start dying from starvation, that's bad. That's major. But if we monitor what's dwindling away and start making preparations for this, we won't have such a big problem. It's one thing if it catches you off guard as a nation. It catches you off guard. It's another thing when you see it coming and you do nothing about it. Now, we all know about the 2030 agenda, and if I'm not mistaken, the 2050 agenda. The 2030 agenda is to get a population to where they want it, a controllable population of people. So this thing that's happening right now with us not having enough sex because the birth rate is down is actually helping them out. So the way to combat that is start fucking more, at least your wife, and producing more kids. And a lot of people are using the excuse now, I don't want to bring a kid in this world. I think that's a bullshit, selfish, lazy excuse because you don't want kids. The world has never been perfect. And according to mankind, and not even according to mankind, but looking at mankind and our history, it has never been perfect. And there's never been an actual time to actually have a kid, if you want to look at it that way. So they use the excuse, I'm not going to bring a kid into this world, is a bullshit, lazy excuse, if you ask me. Now, according to a professor, humanity is not sustainable on this planet. Again, they're using this excuse, guys, to depopulate the planet. They're using this excuse, this false narrative, that there are too many people on this planet. This is a big-ass planet. But according to this professor, we need 5 more Earths for humanity to be sustainable, which I think is utter bullshit. Again, it's just an excuse for those people at Davos to have their meeting every year and go, how are we going to make this decline? But again, with the birth rate being low all over the world because of stressors, environment, food, because male fertility is around the world is dwindling, especially here in the United States, UK, where we eat ultra-processed food, fertility is low. So guys are not able to get their wives or girlfriends pregnant. That's another part that's being played into this whole mess of low fertility rates and low birth rates. It's because we're not doing what we're supposed to do because we're eating garbage, because we have this garbage pumped in front of us all day, every day, and people go, man, I want to eat that hot red Pop-Tart. That hot red Pop-Tart undoubtedly has chemicals on it that's going to fuck with you, whether that's your brain, your dick, your heart, your lungs, but we still eat this shit. We as in the human race. Now, here in the United States, we're probably the only country that eats this way because in other countries, they don't play that chemical shit in the food. They have laws against it, where here in the United States, we don't. So our problems also because of our ultra-processed food. Other places don't have ultra-processed food. Some places do, but a lot of other places don't because they don't allow for the chemicals that are acceptable here to be acceptable there. So again, guys, the 2030 plan, the depopulation of the human race is also we are also playing a part in that, if that makes sense. So not only are they implementing their plan and their arm tickets to depopulate us, but we're also helping by not having enough kids and keeping that birth rate low. Now, in the article I read about us dwindling, they said that here's a few ways to help out with the planet. And of course, the first one on the list is eat less meat. It's their go-to. Let's not forget about, again, the factories that are pumping shit into the air, the factories that are causing the air quality around the world to be shit. Let's eat less meat because less cows are going to make the environment better. Therefore, you eat less meat, you won't need as many cows. Another one was reduce your fashion footprint. I don't even know what that means because I wear the same shit pretty much every day, shorts and a t-shirt. That's it. I mean, I guess they're asking people to buy less sneakers and boots and stuff like that. Things that has rubber and or leather being used in it. They're asking people to buy less of it. again, these are reaches. There are other things we can absolutely go after, but they're going after the low-hanging fruit, which is cows, meat, and then your wardrobe, apparently. So, guys, being that we have decades, I guess, for a lot of us, we're not going to reach that. We're never going to see that point. For a lot of us, again, we got in between 40 to 50 years. I'm already 45. Another 40 years will put me at 85. I don't think I'm going to reach 85. So a lot of us have a legitimate timeline, which is 30 to 40 years. And even if you work out and you stay healthy, all right, you push 85, maybe 90. But still, the clock is ticking for us. As far as our kids go, this shit is going to keep happening, guys, because the coddling of kids as well, telling kids, and this is where it started. When I first became a fireman back in 2004, I noticed a trend of parents telling their kids, don't have kids yet, wait until you're settled. People, early in human history, were having kids as young as 18, 19 years old. In some cases, younger than that. And when you were that age, you were a man, you took care of what you were supposed to take care of, you had a family, you raised it, and you moved on. Now we're telling 30-year-olds, take it easy, you don't have to have a kid now, and that's why the birth rate is low, at least here and in not modern society, but first world countries. You got the same shit in England, you have the same shit here, UK, not the UK, Australia, New Zealand. Countries like that are telling their kids, don't have a kid yet, travel the world. Listen, birth rate is down now. The longer you wait to have a kid, the less likely you are to have one, because fertility rate, like I said, is low because men are waiting too long and women are waiting too long. And the longer you wait in this climate, in this era, and the shit food that you're eating is going to bring down the chances of you having a kid. And that's what it comes down to. So again, it's part of the plan, but we're also helping along with this plan by not having enough sex. So guys, my message is to you is fuck like an animal, have more kids, but be responsible enough that you can take care of the kid as well. Don't have 8 kids if you can't take care of 8 kids. But if you can afford 8 kids, have 8 kids and do an 8 is enough documentary in real time, or in real life rather. Other than that, guys, this is The Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.